Hi.
Hey Baz, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Tell us what you do for a living.
I work for Anglicare, teaching pastoral care.
Awesome.
And one of the topics that I teach in theological colleges and to chaplains is the topic of loneliness. And I thought that would be something that would be good for us to consider for a few moments today.
Yeah.
Yep. There's been one longitudinal study from Harvard. It started about 81 years ago.
Wow.
81 years ago, Harvard University interviewed about 750 men, and then they have followed their life for the last 82 years.
Wow.
They were teenagers then. They're now, some of them, they're very elderly. Of course, they're well in their 90s. And as they started doing this study, the study was really on life contentment, happiness, health. The profound finding of this study is deeply biblical, which is the most important thing for our health and well-being is connection, is relationship. If we don't have relationship, we'll damage our health, we'll damage our mental health, and we'll actually damage our prospects of feeling contented in life.
Right.
So it's a very serious topic. There's a chap called John Cacioppo who wrote a book on loneliness, and he highlighted the importance of acknowledging that loneliness exists.
Yeah.
Because if I say to you, are you lonely? Your temptation is going to be to say,
No.
because we make people to be lonely as to be the outsider,
Right.
as if something's wrong with them.
Right.
And yet most of us will have periods in our life where we feel lonely.
Yes.
We just don't feel like we fit in, or we don't feel like we've got anyone to really talk to.
Right.
Many men will say that they only have one person to talk to if they go through really hard times.
Wow.
So it's there anyway, and now we've got COVID-19 and we're fairly locked into our homes.
Right.
Now, being alone does not mean being lonely,
Yes.
but being alone sets you up to be lonely.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to consider that loneliness could really become a problem, and how are we going to address it as a church community. If we say a lot of us are going to feel lonely, how are we going to address it? And I'd like to think that we could simply address it by saying, taking on board what I can do. That I can ring you and you can ring me.
Yeah.
We can actually connect with one another. I can send you an email. I can read a book and say, hey, have you read this?
Right.
Have you read this article? I'll send it over.
Right.
I just took a photo of a flower in my garden. Check it out. You just painted a picture because you're trying to, while you're at home, you're learning how to paint more.
Yeah.
And you can send the photo over and I'll say, oh, well, you're kind of improving.
Yeah.
And we can have some rapport, some connection.
Right.
So the important thing with loneliness is that it's reasonably easily solved by us just choosing to connect. It's two-way.
Yeah.
One of the things which is really destructive with loneliness is if we throw ourselves a pity party.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm lonely, it's your fault.
Yeah.
You're horrible. Why don't you ring me?
Yeah.
But I never say, why don't you ring me? I just sit at home going, if only she cared.
Sure.
And she doesn't care. I can't believe it. We go to church together. She doesn't even ring me.
Yeah.
That's really destructive.
Yeah.
If I'm lonely, if I've got it within me, and some of us, we're not up to that, but if I've got it in me, the task is to say, I actually think I need to talk to someone. It's the same as the desire for food and water.
Right.
When you're thirsty, what do you do?
Yeah. You get a glass of water.
Yeah, what do you do when you're hungry?
You get something to eat.
Yeah. What do you do when you're lonely?
You reach out.
You reach out. Yeah. And you reach out, and it might be a functional reaching out of just, I just wanted to check something. But at least you're connecting And other times you might just say, well, I'm going to identify other people who are in my boat. I know what this feels like. How loneliness will impact my sleep, will impact my sense of self-worth. But can I actually get out of myself and say, I'm just going to try and communicate with other people? For those of us who aren't lonely, it really it weighs on us that we should be the ones saying, okay, who can I connect with? Churches, on the whole, are under 200 people in Sydney. It's no biggie for us to ring up 20 people. We could be a really, really connected community. In a month, we could really transform our communication. But we're going to have to get out of our space. We're going to have to be generous with our time and say, I'm going to give 20 minutes a day to other people. That's going to be my gift. I'm going to tithe my time.
Right.
I've got 24 hours a day for myself. How many of those minutes am I going to give to somebody else in the service of Christ? And it's not onerous because it's the adventure of getting to know you and you getting to know me. So I think loneliness is a really serious issue for us to face. No one's going to turn around and put their hand up and say, I'm lonely. We don't need to say to people, I think you're lonely, because they're going to feel really bad. Oh no, it's like when someone says, you know, gee, you look really tired, and you think, oh, I know.
You got something stuck in your teeth?
Yeah, that's right. But it's for us to turn around and say, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to be present with someone for 20 minutes a day.
Right, it's that intentionality.
Yeah, that word which you've used quite a lot, and I think it's such a helpful word for us to be intentional in our community, to intentionally love others as Jesus has commanded us to do, to love our neighbour as ourselves.
Yeah, the other thing you said I found really helpful was the difference between being passive and active. And making that call in this time, which one we will be in response to loneliness and our own loneliness maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, And I think for some people, they will feel so weighed down by their loneliness that they won't have the energy to make the phone call. And that's, it really resides then with us who are not feeling that weighed down to say, I need to reach out and talk to this person.
Super helpful.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Baz.
Thank you.